This is Teachers Talk Radio, and you are listening live.
It's Friday night, 9 o'clock. This is the Late Late Show. And tonight we were talking about male role models in schools and how important they are. The majority of schools is dominated by female workers. But how important
This
are
is
male
Teachers
role models?
Talk Radio, and you are listening live. Tune in live at ttradio.org, or to join in the conversation, download the Podbean app and search Teachers Talk Radio. Follow the hashtag TTRadio. Tune in, talk it out with Teachers Talk Radio.
Hello everyone, welcome, and it is the Late Late Show on Friday night, and it's me, Damon Carr. It is 9 o'clock, and tonight we are talking about male role models in schools and how important they are. Most of us know, working in schools, whether you are assistant teachers, whether you are teachers, whether you are supply staff in the office, doing the cleaning, we know that majority of the school staff are dominated by females. And it's usually males aren't really considered to be into that sort of thing. However, there are plenty of positive male role models around schools, around the country, around the world that have a big influence and have a big impact on children. And I think it needs to be spoken about how important they are. Yes, everyone that works in schools are extremely positive people, extremely positive models, and sure they should be. However, males don't get. I don't think they get the attention that they deserve sometimes. So for the first part of this broadcast, I'm going to speak about the role models in my life and the male role models in my life, especially the ones I had at school, and explain how they impacted me personally. And then over the next course of the next 50 minutes or so, we'll continue to talk about how they can impact other children and how important they are going forward. So for me, I go back to high school. I struggled in high school. I struggled for the 2-3 years. I couldn't. Academically, I was fine, but in terms of socially and confidence, I was on the floor. Towards the end of high school, I just wanted to leave. I wanted to go to college. But again, academically, I was there. But you just need that sort of positive role model in your life in that school here. Obviously, my mum and dad, unbelievable, and the positive role models in my life. But in terms of school itself, I didn't feel that I could look to anyone to get any help. But then came year 10 and year 11, and my German teacher and my English teacher specifically, both males. The German teacher, one of the best teachers I've ever seen, and just proper down to earth, got on with the children, like an extra friend, and the way he spoke to the children was it was on a level. And for me, seeing that and just being in these lessons were just an absolute joy. German's not anything like your languages such as German, French, Spanish. It's not exactly you go to high school to learn those as such. You're like, oh, I can't wait to go learn that, can't wait to do this. You go up there, you want to learn a specific job role. But just the way he was as a teacher and the impact he had on me personally, I just don't, it made me rethink how teaching is seen by students, and it made me rethink, it's not just a boring place to go and learn this. German could easily be boring. I love German because of him. I got good at German because of him. And again, same with English. At the moment, as well as doing this, I work in schools, but I also freelance writing, and is because of how I enjoyed English and how I really wanted to impress the teacher. And again, like the German teacher, he was down to earth. He got on with the kids. He spoke to us like a friend would, and he spoke to us like on our level and had a laugh with us and everything like that. And for me, those two teachers in that high school sort of, I won't say paved the way for what I want to become now, but had a huge impact on what I'm wanting to become now, and had a huge impact in me wanting to pursue schools and pursue a writing career as such, and a journalistic career. Because if I didn't enjoy those English lessons the way I did, I don't think I'd be going around that sort of area and that sort of topic, because it can be easily made boring. I mean, if I go back to the maths and other subjects like that, I mean, they just sometimes I did good in them, got good grades in them, but they weren't. You needed some sort of excitement in those lessons, and for me, that German teacher and the English teacher, and I remember the names now, Mr. Hadfield and I think Mr. Bauer it was, and they have sort of inspired me to become what I want to become now, and that's because they made the lessons exciting. You felt like one of them. You felt like you could talk to them anytime. You just wanted to prove to them that you can do it. They wanted to do well for them, and that is what as a teacher has been about. And these two men, these two you know high school teachers that I hired in my life, I couldn't thank them enough. And for me to be a male in a school now, I just feel like I've sort of based myself off them a little bit, where I want to be fun. I want to be the guy that the children can talk to just on a level, and I think that is so important that children feel that, and that comes for the two male teachers in my life. It doesn't come from two females, and is that me being a male, or I don't know. But for me personally, I just think the way they approached teaching was just an absolute pleasure to be in their lessons, and it's I think that impact there just shows you exactly why I'm doing this show and why I'm talking about male role models in schools, because it's so important for people like me, and so important for other children out there that that need that little extra support. I believe I got that extra support throughout high school, year 7, year 8, year 9. I think my grades would have been better, decent grades, like I said, but I feel like I was pushed that a little bit extra in those lessons because I loved the teachers and the way they were, the way you spoke to them. Yeah, for me, I've just based everything off that and how I put myself into schools now. And I've worked as a male. I've worked with so many females, absolutely incredible workers, and I absolutely admire most of the people I work with and I've worked with. But for me as a male, I just feel like you do feel different, but then you feel like it's a positive difference rather than a negative difference. I feel like I can look at things differently than what a female would look at it. For example, we are two different sort of species in a way. We are human, but we are two different species, and we do think differently. And I believe that the way I can come onto it, I just think there's more time out there for people like me and people like the two teachers I was mentioning before, and to have a huge positive impact. And why they need male role models in classrooms is because children will be surrounded by males and females all their life. So if you are going to school and you just see just females, and you see how a female acts at that age, teacher. You know that you're looking up to them. So if they're seeing how they act and they're seeing how they talk to you, they're seeing how they teach. You know, they think it's that way, and that's it. And when they're not seeing males in schools, then when they grow up, they're not going to be. They can't. They can't push themselves into life with alongside females and males as much as what they would if they had the mixture at schools as well and role models at schools, because males are just as important in schools. And it in years ago it probably did look down upon having males in schools. Just like, say, like, you can have male nurses or female you know gym instructors, something like that. It looks it looks unordinary, but it's not. Now it's become such the norm that it's quite inspiring for me that teachers want to be, male teachers want to be in schools, male people want to be in schools, and I think it's such a positive way of moving forward in the next few decades, that our schools are wanting to employ male staff as well. And sometimes, they might look to male staff in front of female staff. I don't agree with that, but it's just a positive. It's a positive thing that they're being given that chance, and they can prove themselves that it doesn't matter what sex you are. If you're a positive role model on a child, you're a positive role model on a child. And I'm going to go to, like, children that suffer now without male role models, because you have children that just don't have fathers at home. You have children from single parent families. You have children with, no families at all, and they've not had that positive role model in their life. They've not had that positive male role model in their life, and those children need that more than anyone. They need that more than anyone, and especially, maybe, say, a little boy, for example. You want to grow up. You want that little boy to grow up to, to be a respectful person, to be a man that will, try his best in life and work hard, and just be a nice, general, and a nice person. And if they haven't had that role model to look at, and sort of, copy, mimic, then they have nothing to learn. They have nothing. They don't know where to go. They're lost, and they have nothing to sort of inspire them. So it's so important to have male role models in school, because especially for those children alone that just don't have it at home, or even if they do have fathers or anything like that, they're not a positive role model for them. Because it gives them a sense of purpose. It gives them a chance to see, this is what I want to be. This is what I can be. And I go back to my high school days, and I had positive role model. My dad's amazing role model for me. But in terms of school, like I said, I was struggling in school for the first 3 years of my high school life. I loved junior school, by the way. First 3 high school years of my life, I struggled. But when I had those two teachers, the English teacher and the German teacher, both males, and the way they inspired me to, you can become this in a school. School can be fun, and it can be fun taught by men. It doesn't have to be just women. It's before high school, actually. Before high school, I'll go back to junior school, actually, and the junior school I went to is quite special in my heart, because my mother still works there. This school, again, amazing teachers that have taught me throughout that junior school, and I still know some of them there. But again, the best person that I can remember was when I was in year 5, year 6, and again, it was a man, and his name was Mr. Payne, and he was everyone's favorite teacher in that school. And this is just a junior school, so it's only a small school. And so for me to look back at my school year and see the 3 main teachers in my school year life, it was males. The 3 ones that had most impact on me were males. The 3 that I enjoyed being there, I wanted to be there, I wanted to learn, I wanted to give them everything I had, they were males. And that's not saying, females didn't have that chance with me, because they did. It was these 3 males were the best teachers I've ever had, and the ones that wanted to make me work, and the ones that reason why I've got the grades I've got today, and I've got a plan and a future in something I want to do. It's these 3 males in schools that have inspired me to do that, because I've enjoyed English because of that, and they're so important. Just my experiences alone tells you everything about how important male role models are in school, and that's with someone that's had male role models at home. If to say that's important for me personally, it's tenfold. It's tenfold for someone that doesn't have that role model at home. It's tenfold for someone that doesn't have a dad at home. It's tenfold for someone that cares about them home, and doesn't show that they care about them. It may be looked down as a soft or a sensitive job position. Oh, you look after kids. Oh, that's very nice. It shouldn't be looked upon like that when it becomes, whether it's females or males. You're there for a job. If you're brilliant at your job, no matter what sex you are. Again, I revert back to, males wanting to be doctors, females wanting to be doctors, females wanting to be, gym instructors. If you're good at the job and you are positive and you can get the best out of your job, you can get the best out of the people that come to your job and come for help or come for advice, come to the school to learn, then it doesn't matter what sex you are. And again, I go back to my experiences. Those 3 male teachers for me is evident proof there why male role models are so important in school, and we should have more of them. And again, the vast majority are females, and I hope we can inspire more males to go into teaching, and more males go into schools itself, whether it's just teaching, whether it's assistant teaching, whether it's support staff, anything else, because you make an impact. You really do make an impact. My school years are absolute proof of that, making an impact. And I want to now do the same as those 3 teachers did for me. I want to make an impact on these children. I want to say, I want children to grow up and be adults and say, and just sit there like the way I'm sitting there now, say, those, Mr. Carr. I've been Mr. Carr at school, obviously, but Mr. Carr, he was the best teacher. I loved Mr. Carr. He was the best teacher, and I loved school because of him. That right there, what it means to me because of these teachers that made school amazing for me, I want that same impact. And to have that impact, it is second to none, and it is the most incredible thing. That's the best thing you can do. It's the best thing you can do to have that impact on children. After, I'm going to play the news for a second, and then after that, we're going to continue speaking on how important male role models are in school and what impact it can have on the children. Here's the news.
This show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Educational, a leading publisher of books, directories, educational guides and magazines specifically aimed at forward-thinking schools in the UK and beyond. Have you checked out their latest releases? Don't miss out! Visit johncattbookshop.com to explore their full range of titles and advance your own professional development today. Happy reading!
And this is Teachers Talk Radio News.
During his visit to Northern Ireland, US President Joe Biden suggested in a speech at Ulster University that students are increasingly persuaded to stay at home rather than seek careers abroad. The speech, reported in the Belfast Telegraph, refers to young people, instead of fleeing for opportunities elsewhere, can see their futures and careers for themselves that speak to unlimited possibilities here. However, the article goes on to feature comments from Anne Watt, Director of Political Research Group Pivotal, who says that whilst she welcomed the positive nature of the comments, Northern Ireland still has a long way to go before the battle to keep the most promising students can be won. She went on to say there is evidence in her organisation's research that significant economic migration could be worsening, not improving. The problem of young people leaving Northern Ireland to study elsewhere and not returning has been around for years, and many seem to see the President's words as aspirational rather than accurate. The point that as students leave Northern Ireland, other students from the UK and further afield are not coming in the same numbers. The country, therefore, cannot retain or regain talent, and political instability has not helped matters. In order for Northern Ireland to meet the aspirations raised in Biden's speech, talent needs to stay at home. The Daily Mirror reports on figures released by the Department for Education, which show more than 140,000 school children were severely absent in the summer of 2022. The paper refers to these young people as ghost children and raises concerns that this pattern is continuing in the current academic year. The department refers to children of school age who are not receiving a suitable education either with a teacher or homeschooling. They are usually those with attendance below 50%. The reasons for being away from school include anxiety, mental health, special educational needs and disabilities, but concerns arise around young people who are likely extremely vulnerable. Last year, the Children's Commissioner also released a report focusing on school attendance, but, according to DfE figures, attendance to schools across England has largely failed to recover to pre-pandemic levels. Latest figures released by the DfE has persistent absence at 22.4%. These are pupils with below 90% attendance, although this is suggested as being a result of illness towards the end of the autumn term. According to FE Week, the Department for Education has launched a £1 million contract for an organisation to drive new T-level employment placements. The documents explain that the DfE is seeking a potential supplier to engage with employers to develop their knowledge and understanding of T-levels, as well as helping them to plan and prepare to deliver high-quality industry placements. T-level courses were first launched in 2020 and feature a mandatory placement with an employer totalling 45 days or 315 hours. There are now 16 T-levels available, with another 2 due to launch this September. As the provision of the qualifications has grown, so has the need for placements. The DfE has offered financial support to employers offering placements, but uptake has not been high, as employers cite red tape and cost pressures as reasons the courses are unattractive. Finally, as the row over teacher pay and conditions, as well as concern over recruitment, continues, the Evening Standard featured a report on Londoners turning their back on teaching and flocking to better paid jobs in the city. A combination of the availability of better paid jobs and the high cost of living in the capital is putting Londoners off teaching, according to school leaders. Whilst a DfE spokesperson spoke about the bursaries and scholarships on offer for those training in key subjects such as maths, physics and computing, many took to social media to highlight the issues facing teachers in the capital, such as the difficulty in buying or renting property, when the average teacher salary in inner London is £47,000, but the average property price is over £600,000. This has been your Teachers Talk Radio News with Joe Fox.
This is 2 Minute Tech with Steve Woods, your tech briefing on Teachers Talk Radio.
Hello, this week I'm going to talk about hidden spy cameras. Do you know who is filming you? Modern cameras can be as small as a pinhead and embedded in things like pens, buttons, and while researching this, I even found one built into the centre of a crosshead screw. Online shopping sites blatantly sell spying devices such as smoke alarms with built-in spy cameras. There have been high-profile cases in the media of people misusing spy cameras, but as I investigated further, one statistic stood out. 11% of people that use Airbnb reported finding hidden cameras. As I continue to dig around for a UK statistic, the figure dropped to 10%. That's 1 in 10 people. Now, obviously, this is not solely limited to Airbnb. They just seem to be the company that has the most media coverage. So, for those of you that are concerned, my next investigation was how to detect a hidden camera. Here are the top pieces of advice I've found. You can buy devices that are designed to detect cameras. They start at about £40 and utilise most of the other methods I'm about to talk about. You can buy an app for your phone. If worried, don't buy it before you go. Some apps have a free trial period. Use that to scan the areas you're concerned with. Visual checks. Look for items that seem out of place. A clock pointing at the bed. A random USB dongle in a wall socket. Shine your phone torch at suspected items. Camera lenses will light up, helping you identify them. In the dark, a lot of cameras will use infrared to continue to get pictures. This can be seen via your phone camera. Look through your phone around the room in the dark and watch for suspicious dots of light. Please remember, if we turn this statistic around, 9 out of 10 places are not covertly trying to film you, and that statistic was good enough for very popular cat food in the past. As always, if you have a tech question, why not send it to @TTRadioOfficial. I'm Steve Woods, and that was 2 Minute Tech.
2 Minute Tech with Steve Woods, your tech briefing on Teachers Talk Radio.
So, what makes a male positive role model? Someone that is willing to learn, someone that is willing to listen, someone that is willing to sort things out, someone that is willing to conversate. Males are usually seen as the dominant species, and they're usually seen as the one to apply discipline and things like that. But what can a male teacher do? What can a male supply teacher do? What can a male teaching assistant do? You know, they can do a lot more than what is on the packet. They can sympathise, they can listen, they can talk, and they can feel the empathy with the children as well. They have just as much as a female teacher, a female teaching assistant in them to really connect to children and really get their points across and really guide the children in the right way, how to behave, how to present yourself in life, how to carry yourself. We can make a difference on these children just by simple conversations, just by being the person that just, a little hug every now and then. Someone that is sensitive, someone that can be there for the child that needs it. It's not just about being a female or a male. Anyone can be human, and anyone can have the traits of a human that a human needs, and be inspiring to children that don't know what those traits are. They're still learning how to be a human. They're still learning how to be a decent person. We all have times where we don't like, and again, children do it as well. And to see a child, for example, say a young boy that's going through things, for him to see a male at school and show and have someone to talk to like that, ooh, you are just like me, you was a little boy like me. How did you cope with things like this? And it is some lads, some boys might not feel comfortable going to a lady and going to a female and saying, I'm struggling with this and this and this. How do you do that? Because it's not the same. So to have those male role models in school and have someone there for someone like that to talk to, the impact is magnificent. It really is, and it's so. You can't even put into words how big that moment could be. It could be like a 5-minute conversation. It could be a 1-minute conversation, and that's all that child needs. It's someone to look to and say, you was like me. And it's as if I was putting down into a book and how to be that sort of role model. It's just probably just be heard. Just make sure you're the one that is always open to listening, to be open. I think that is definitely the main word. Be open to listening to a child, be open to being there for your staff member. Be open to conversations that that need to happen. Men usually are spoken about when they're not talking about their mental health. They can't talk about how they feel, and only until recent years it's been seen as weak. It's been seen as fragile, and kids pick up on that. Kids pick up on that whether you're in year 4 or year 11. These kids pick up on that, and some of them probably themselves are scared to speak and scared to see that. And if they see you opening up, being open like that and being there and being empathetic and being there to talk to, then that's where they feel comfortable. It's not weak. The ones that I wanted to do well was females, especially my English teacher. I think most and foremost because he's the one that inspired me to do English and want to do well in English, and that's how I got my grades in English. And I want to become a writer and things like that. That if I didn't have that teacher, would I be what I'm doing now? If I didn't have that moment with that teacher, if I didn't have those lessons, those fun lessons I had with him, would I be where I am now? So what makes a positive male role model? It basically is just be the best version of what you wanted to be as a child. I always look back and think, what did I like in these teachers that I looked up to? What do I like about them? Be that sort of person. It's not being fake, because if you are that person, you're going to show that anyway. So you just need to be think like the child. Think like put you in their shoes and go back into your childhood life and think, what do I want from a teacher? If I'm a boy here and I need someone to look up to in school, then what would I want? And that's what you really need to look at as a teacher, as a male role model in school. Whether even if you're a caretaker, for example, how do you present yourself around school? Are you happy? Are you smiling? Are you positive? Yes, you go through hard times, but when you're in those 4 walls of schools, you can be professional. You can really do these for the children. And if you are struggling, just don't be scared to be open with, not saying the kids, but be open, about it, because you're inspiring. You are inspiring, and you inspire the next generation of boys, or even. I'm going to go into the girls section in a minute, and how having a positive role model in a male is for a girl as well. But going back to the boys, I just think having that someone there to look at and say, look, no, this is my standard. This is what I want to be when I'm older. I want to be that confident. I want to be that funny guy. I want to be that, guy that wants to get things done and work hard. To have that in front of you, and I think that's more, that just means more than anything. I really do think that, and I think that alone can just work out their life. That could really give them their goal in life and give them their confidence, saying, you know what, I'm going for this, and this is what I want to do, and it just inspires them to be what they want to be, and they can do it because it's proof right there. The mail's right there. If you want to be a teacher, you've got the proof right there. If you want to inspire others the way, your teacher's inspiring you, there's a man above you that's teaching you. Just because you're a boy, just because, teaching's a girl thing, as it's been seen over the years, you've got proof right there. It's not. You do what you want to do, and you be inspired. You inspire the next generation. Then, but yeah, I'm going to go on to how it impacts on girls as well. Speaking of not having that good role model at home, a positive man in their life, whether it be at home. When they grow up, they're going to be growing up around men and women just like everyone else. So if they can't see positivity in a male at school, then where else are they going to see positivity in males? Obviously, a lot of them grow up to have relationships and things like that. They need to see, what like a positive person is, and how people should be presenting themselves and things like that. They should, they should be, a nice person will just. I'm trying to think how to word this now. A nice person will just show everyone how a nice person should be. And if they carry themselves well, then the girls are just going to say, I want to surround myself with people like that carry themselves well and that are genuinely nice people. And again, girls that don't have fathers at home, for me, they only get one side of what a person can be. They only see their mother, and that could really hurt that could give them trauma on how they see men going on through in life. Because if they only know a woman that's looking after them and they only know women in school, then how do they view men? Does they view men as anything? Because they need to see if the only males in their life are negative impacts on them, or just no impact at all, then how are they going to take that into future life? How are they going to take that into adulthood? They're not going to want to be around men. Even if I'm not talking about relationships either. I'm talking about actual just being around in general. Because if that trauma will stay with them with their lives, and if that's all they know, that males are negative, males are this, males are that, then that will be there with them for life, and they need some sort of male positive role model in their life at some point to change their mind. Otherwise, they're always going to have that view on males. And the reason why we have males in schools is to change that. We need to change that view on the way people see males in society. We aren't just that stubborn, hard-hitting, disciplinary, and we are more than that. We've got feelings. We can be empathetic. We can be fun. We can be anything you want us to be. And if a younger female doesn't see that throughout a adolescence period, if they don't see that sort of positive role model as a male, then that sets them up for an absolute fail in life, because they're going to think males are just like that. They're going to think every man is just like that. Even if they don't see males as a relationship, they're still going to feel like you still got to surround yourselves with males and females at some point in your life when you go out in the public. If they see them like that, then it's always going to be a shut door. They're never going to be open to anything else, because there's so many decent people out there. and they're either male or female. And if you're only seeing positivity out of females, then you're shutting yourself off for half the population. But when you go back to, I go back to my school days again, and think of the positive role models. I just know for me, I look at them positive role models in my schools, what they impacted on me. I had like I said, I had a positive role model at home in a male. So if it had that impact on me, imagine the impact it's going to have on someone that doesn't have that positive role model, whether you're girl or boy. So to have a role model in school that is male is absolutely, it's a necessity. If I'm honest, absolute necessity. I'm not saying schools go out there and make sure you get males in your school, but if there is good males out there, you get that chance to hire them, then I pretty much recommend you to do so, because it means more on the children than you may even think first and foremost. And the impact is just, it's incredible, absolutely incredible. And there's incredible females out there, incredible males out there. And like I said, it doesn't matter what sex you are anyway. But to have a male in school is so vital. And I believe that, again, I'm just an example of that, of what it did to me in schools. So why do we need positive role models in school? The same way you need positive role models in life. If you don't have that someone to look up to and think, I can do this, and be inspired to, I can make this, then what do you look at? You just constantly look at yourself and think, you can't do this, you can't do that. It's always negative. So if you don't have that someone to look at and really sort of view yourself as them, then you really can't. You have nothing to compare. You have nothing to compare, and this is why it's so important to have males and females in schools, because they need to compare. How a good person is to be in life, how a good female is to be in life, how a good male is to be in life. When they grow older, they know what a good person is, and they know how to surround themselves with those good people, because they've had examples when they were younger. When we come back for the last part, I will go over and what impact it can have on schools with male role models, and how the future will look like if more males were put into schools.
This show is brought to you in partnership with John Catt Educational, a leading publisher of books, directories, educational guides and magazines specifically aimed at forward-thinking schools in the UK and beyond. Have you checked out their latest releases? Don't miss out! Visit johncattbookshop.com to explore their full range of titles and advance your own professional development today. Happy reading!
This is Teachers Talk Radio, and this is Teachers Talk Radio News.
During his visit to Northern Ireland, US President Joe Biden suggested in a speech at Ulster University that students are increasingly persuaded to stay at home rather than seek careers abroad. The speech, reported in the Belfast Telegraph, refers to young people, instead of fleeing for opportunities elsewhere, can see their futures and careers for themselves that speak to unlimited possibilities here. However, the article goes on to feature comments from Anne Watt, Director of Political Research Group Pivotal, who says that whilst she welcomed the positive nature of the comments, Northern Ireland still has a long way to go before the battle to keep the most promising students can be won. She went on to say there is evidence in her organisation's research that significant economic migration could be worsening, not improving. The problem of young people leaving Northern Ireland to study elsewhere and not returning has been around for years, and many seem to see the President's words as aspirational rather than accurate. Ms Watts also raised the point that as students leave Northern Ireland, other students from the UK and further afield are not coming in the same numbers. The country, therefore, cannot retain or regain talent, and political instability has not helped matters. In order for Northern Ireland to meet the aspirations raised in Biden's speech, talent needs to stay at home. The Daily Mirror reports on figures released by the Department for Education, which show more than 140,000 school children were severely absent in the summer of 2022. The paper refers to these young people as ghost children and raises concerns that this pattern is continuing in the current academic year. The Department for Education says the term severely absent refers to children of school age who are not receiving a suitable education either with a teacher or homeschooling. They are usually those with attendance below 50%. The reasons for being away from school include anxiety, mental health, special educational needs and disabilities, but concerns arise around young people who are likely extremely vulnerable. Last year, the Children's Commissioner also released a report focusing on school attendance, but, according to DfE figures, attendance to schools across England has largely failed to recover to pre-pandemic levels. Latest figures released by the DfE has persistent absence at 22.4%. These are pupils with below 90% attendance, although this is suggested as being a result of illness towards the end of the autumn term. According to FE Week, the Department for Education has launched a £1 million contract for an organisation to drive new T-level employment placements. The documents explain that the DfE is seeking a pattern and prepare to deliver industry placements with an employer totaling 45 days or 350 hours. Of the qualifications has the need for placements. Employers cite red tape and as reasons the courses are unattractive. Evening Standard featured a report on turning their back on teaching and flocking to better paid jobs in the city. A combination of the availability of better paid jobs and the high cost of living in the capital is putting Londoners off teaching, according to school leaders. Whilst a DfE spokesperson spoke about the bursaries and scholarships on offer for those training in key subjects such as maths, physics and computing, many took to social media to highlight the issues facing teachers in the capital, such as the difficulty in buying or renting property, when the average teacher salary in London is £47,000, but the average property price is over £600,000. This has been your Teachers Talk Radio News with Joe Fox.
This is 2 Minute Tech with Steve Woods, your tech briefing on Teachers Talk Radio.
Hello, this week I'm going to talk about hidden spy cameras. Do you know who is filming you? Modern cameras can be as small as a pinhead and embedded in things like pens, buttons, and while researching this, I even found one built into the centre of a crosshead screw. Online shopping sites blatantly sell spying devices such as smoke alarms with built-in spy cameras. There have been high-profile cases in the media of people misusing spy cameras. But as I investigated further, one statistic stood out. 11% of people that use Airbnb reported finding hidden cameras. As I continue to dig around for a UK statistic, the figure dropped to 10%. That's 1 in 10 people. Now, obviously, this is not solely limited to Airbnb. They just seem to be the company that has the most media coverage. So, for those of you that are concerned, my next investigation was how to detect a hidden camera. Here are the top pieces of advice I've found. You can buy devices that are designed to detect cameras. They start at about £40 and utilise most of the other methods I'm about to talk about. You can buy an app for your phone. If worried, don't buy it before you go. Some apps have a free trial period. Use that to scan the areas you're concerned with. Visual checks. Look for items that seem out of place. A clock pointing at the bed, a random USB dongle in a wall socket. Shine your phone torch at suspected items. Camera lenses will light up, helping you identify them. In the dark, a lot of cameras will use infrared to continue to get pictures. This can be seen via your phone camera. Look through your phone around the room in the dark and watch for suspicious dots of light. Please remember, if we turn this statistic around, 9 out of 10 places are not covertly trying to film you, and that statistic was good enough for very popular cat food in the past. As always, if you have a tech question, why not send it to @TTRadioOfficial. I'm Steve Woods, and that was 2 Minute.
2 Minute Tech with Steve Woods, your tech briefing on Teachers Talk Radio.
To see how important male role models are in school, I'm going to talk about how it would be if male role models were taken out of school and what the future would look like. We would get boys without any sort of role model in their life, anyone to look up to and say, I can be that. We'd get girls who are afraid of men. We would get girls that don't know what a positive person looks like in a man, because they haven't got that person at school, they haven't got that person at home. We'd get a society that just doesn't work because there's not been enough in a younger life and in a younger person's mind to see what one can do, how they present themselves and how they are, and everything will just be negative. If we can't have positive role models in school, everything about males in society will be negatively seen. It'll be negatively seen through eyes of people who've not seen what a positive role model looks like. Yes, children have positive role models at home in parents, but that's not all of them. There's a good percentage out there that don't have that. They don't have good role models in their mothers. They don't have good role models in their dads. They don't have good role models at all in their lives. So a positive role model in general, whether you're male or female, can have a massive impact. But specifically males, that impact on males in society is absolutely huge. Absolutely huge. And you cannot define in one sentence or define in one word to how big that impact can have if you take that away. There are more males in schools in recent years and recent decades. The impact it's had on society as a whole, I think it's been so positive. It's been so positive. I think in life, we're more open to talk about things. We're more open to challenge things. We're more open to discuss certain topics. Whilst 34 years ago, things were just not discussed. Things were put to the side. Things were seen as just not right for a male to talk about. Not right for a male to do. But to have these positive role models early on in schools, it allows a society to grow together. It allows for females and males together to grow together. It allows for girl children, to see what a positive male looks like in their life and what they want to grow up and be around in life. It gives a child, a young boy, someone to inspire them and say, I want to be like that. I want to be like him. You take that away, they have nothing to compare to. They have nothing to look at and say, I want to be like them. And they grow up just I won't say on a limb, but they grow up thinking that, what is a good man? What is a good man? Because they haven't seen a good man. If they don't have that man at home, they do not see that a good man. And they grow up not being good men, unfortunately. That's as plain and simple as it comes. They grow up not to be nice men. because they don't know what a nice man is. Girls grow up, surround themselves by not nice men because they don't know what a nice man is. They don't know what a positive man is, a positive role model is. So you surround yourselves what you know about. If you go support a football team, you go to a football match, you surround yourself by those. You don't have to support those, but because you're surrounded by them, you're going to become that. You're going to become a fan of that team because you're surrounding yourself. If you surround yourself by the wrong people in life in general, you start to become one of them. If you surround yourself around good people in life, you start to become one of them. So if you're surrounded by good men in schools as well as good women, you will know what a good man or a good woman is. And in future life, you will either surround yourself with good men or good women, or you will become a good man or a good woman. To have those positive role models in schools, it needs to happen. We need to have males in schools. We need to have male schools. Because if we don't, society as a whole won't crumble, but it will divide. It'll divide. People will not know what a good man is. So for me, if I were to end this show on, would be just make sure that if you do work at a school, you're a man. Make sure you can be the best version of you. Make sure you can be the best version of the man that you wanted to be. Make sure you can be the best version of the child wanting to become. Make sure you become the most positive role model you can ever become in a school. Because those children are looking at you and those children are inspired by you. And those children, their lives could be planned out because of the way you are. And I'll also I'll also say to society in general and schools, make sure you have positive role in your schools. Make sure you have positive male role models in your schools as well as female. Because if you don't, then again, the society as a whole won't work as well as it can. I want to thank everyone for listening for tonight, and I hope it's been an interesting listen as much as it's been an interesting talk for me, and I hope that I myself can inspire the next generation of children and as a male and to want to be remembered as a positive impact in their lives. And I hope to inspire as well. I hope more males want to go out there and want to go to schools and teach, want to go to schools and give these kids what they need. Thank you everyone for listening, and I will speak to you all next week.
This is Teachers Talk Radio, and you are listening live. This is Teachers Talk Radio, and you are listening live. Tune in live at ttradio.org or to join in. You've been listening to Teachers Talk Radio. Tune in live and listen back at ttradio.org. We look forward to hearing from you next time on Teachers Talk Radio.